Floyd Mayweather's financial journey is a tale of dazzling highs and perplexing lows, a narrative that intertwines his boxing legacy with a controversial approach to wealth. Recently, Shannon Sharpe, a vocal critic, didn't mince words when reacting to news that Mayweather had allegedly fallen victim to a $42 million scam, resulting in bankruptcy. Sharpe's disappointment was palpable, emphasizing that Mayweather, a figure of immense success, should have been more vigilant. As an independent contractor, Mayweather was responsible for managing his finances, including ensuring that state and federal taxes were deducted from his massive earnings, such as the $230 million he reportedly made at his peak. Sharpe argued that someone of Mayweather's stature should never overlook such critical details, pointing to a lack of accountability that led to this staggering loss. For Sharpe, the incident wasn't just about money, it was about a failure to uphold the responsibility that comes with wealth. Mayweather, however, has always viewed money differently. In his own words, discussing wealth doesn't make him a bad person. For him, money is a tool, a means to secure the finer things in life and create experiences that transcend the ordinary. He's unapologetic about his love for luxury, from traveling to the UK and Dubai to ensuring his family can enjoy a life of comfort. Money, in Mayweather's philosophy, isn't just currency, it's freedom. It allows him to explore ventures others might not dare to dream of, to live boldly and without restraint. This mindset fuels his financial decisions, which often lean toward the unconventional and high risk. He's admitted that his business strategy involves investing in ventures that most people don't understand, a gambler's approach that prioritizes innovation over caution. While this method has led to some successes, Mayweather himself acknowledges that 90% of these investments end in failure. Yet, he remains undeterred, viewing these losses as part of the game, much like the calculated risks he took in the boxing ring. This gambler's mentality is evident in how Mayweather showcases his wealth. Social media posts and videos often feature him flaunting massive bank deposits or stacks of cash, a display that's both a celebration of his journey and a symbol of his triumph over humble beginnings. For Mayweather, showing off his wealth isn't mere flexing, it's a testament to how far he's come from his days growing up in affordable housing. However, critics like Sharpe see this as a double-edged sword. While these displays may inspire some, they also raise questions about whether Mayweather's focus on projecting wealth distracts him from the kind of prudent financial management that could prevent disasters like the $42 million scam. The contrast between his public persona and the reality of his financial missteps creates a tension that defines much of the current discourse around him. Sharpe's critique extends beyond Mayweather's financial troubles to his continued participation in exhibition fights, which have become a lightning rod for controversy. These bouts, often against opponents like YouTubers or lesser-known fighters, are seen by many as undermining Mayweather's legacy as one of boxing's greatest defensive fighters. Sharpe argues that these fights are less about sport and more about spectacle, likening them to WWE-style entertainment rather than legitimate boxing. The allure, he suggests, lies in the public's desire to see Mayweather lose, a sentiment fueled by his undefeated 50-0 record and polarizing persona. For Sharpe, these exhibitions represent a fall from grace, a willingness to trade athletic dignity for quick cash. He specifically pointed to Mayweather's bout with Logan Paul as a low point, questioning why a champion of Mayweather's caliber would engage in such fights. The comparison to WWE wasn't just about theatrics, it was about the erosion of a legacy built on discipline and dominance. Mayweather, on the other hand, seems unfazed by the criticism. He's candid about the financial incentives behind these exhibitions, which can net him $15 to $20 million per event. For him, the decision is pragmatic. Why turn down easy money? His nickname, Money Mayweather, is more than a moniker, it's a reflection of his relentless pursuit of wealth, even at the cost of public perception. Yet, this approach raises deeper questions about legacy and honor. Sharpe and others wonder why someone who dominated boxing, earning over $1 billion in his career, feels the need to chase these paydays. Is it greed, a refusal to step away from the spotlight, or simply a belief that money is the ultimate measure of success? For Mayweather, the answer seems to lie in his identity as a self-made man who thrives on proving doubters wrong, whether in the ring or in business. Beyond boxing, Mayweather has increasingly turned his attention to real estate, a venture he claims is driven by both profit and purpose. He recently made headlines by announcing a $402 million deal to acquire 1,000 units across 62 buildings in Upper Manhattan, positioning himself as a champion of affordable housing. The narrative is compelling. A kid from modest beginnings giving back to communities like the one he grew up in. Mayweather's team has emphasized his emotional connection to this project, noting that his passion for rent-regulated properties stems from his own experiences in affordable housing. The idea of generating income while making a social impact resonates with his broader philosophy of using wealth to create opportunities. However, the real estate world is skeptical. Property records show no evidence of ownership changes for the buildings in question, and organizations like the NYC Housing Partnership have not been notified of any such deals. Reporters attempting to verify Mayweather's claims have encountered further confusion, with representatives offering vague assurances but refusing to go on record. In one instance, a man claiming to be James McNair, a supposed associate of Mayweather, spoke to the press, but his voice didn't match earlier recordings, raising suspicions of misrepresentation. These inconsistencies have led some to question whether Mayweather is exaggerating the scope of his real estate portfolio, a pattern that aligns with his tendency to make bold, attention-grabbing claims. Industry experts suggest that while Mayweather's interest in real estate may be genuine, his approach lacks the transparency and documentation needed to substantiate his assertions. The idea of buying 62 buildings, or even 62 units, as some reports suggest, sounds impressive, but without concrete evidence, it risks being perceived as another of Mayweather's high-stakes gambles gone awry. Critics argue that his focus on generating buzz, much like his social media displays of wealth, may be overshadowing the practical realities of managing such a portfolio. For every supporter who praises his vision for generational wealth, there's a skeptic who sees these claims as an extension of his flamboyant persona, more about image than substance. Mayweather's real estate ventures are just one chapter in a broader story of financial independence that began long before his recent controversies. His empire was built on a bold bet. In 2006, he paid a $750,000 exit fee to leave Bob Arum's Top Rank promotion, choosing to promote his own fights and retain a larger share of the profits. This move, risky at the time, paid off spectacularly, earning him $25 million for his 2007 fight against Oscar de la Hoya. Unlike most athletes, Mayweather never relied on a traditional manager, negotiating his own deals and maintaining full control over his finances. This do-it-yourself approach made him one of the richest athletes in history, with career earnings exceeding $1 billion. However, it also left him vulnerable to mistakes, as the absence of a professional team meant he bore the full weight of any missteps. This independence is both Mayweather's greatest strength and his Achilles heel. It allowed him to craft a career on his own terms, but it also exposed him to risks like the $42 million scam. His supporters argue that this willingness to take risks is what sets him apart, a reflection of the same fearlessness that made him a champion. Critics, however, see it as recklessness, a refusal to surround himself with the expertise needed to navigate the complexities of wealth. The scam, in this view, wasn't just a financial loss. It was a consequence of Mayweather's insistence on going it alone, a gamble that didn't pay off. Mayweather's perspective on his legacy is shaped by the era he came up in, one he believes was far tougher than today's digital age. He often contrasts his grind, wrapping vehicles with his face, doing interviews non-stop for months, with the ease of modern influence, where a single social media post can reach billions. For him, this hard-earned success makes his achievements more authentic, a badge of honor that younger athletes can't fully appreciate. Yet, critics argue that he's now leaning too heavily on that reputation, making choices that dilute the very legacy he worked so hard to build. Exhibition fights, questionable real estate claims, and public displays of wealth may keep him in the spotlight, but they also invite scrutiny about what he's truly fighting for. The possibility of a rematch with Conor McGregor looms as a potential turning point. Their 2017 fight was a cultural phenomenon, generating massive pay-per-view numbers and cementing Mayweather's status as a box office draw. A second fight could be his last giant payday, a chance to capitalize on his fame while he's still physically able. But at 45, the risks are higher. McGregor, despite his own struggles, remains a dangerous opponent, and a loss could be catastrophic for Mayweather's undefeated record and legacy. Fans and analysts are divided. Some see it as a thrilling opportunity, others as a desperate cash grab. The question isn't just whether Mayweather can win, it's whether the fight is worth the potential cost to his reputation. For now, Mayweather remains a polarizing figure, admired for his hustle and criticized for his choices. His supporters see a man who's still betting on himself, unafraid to take risks in pursuit of greatness. His detractors see a cautionary tale, a legend whose obsession with money has led him astray. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. Mayweather's story isn't just about wealth or boxing, it's about the price of ambition, the delicate balance between legacy and profit, and the relentless drive to prove oneself, even when the world is watching with a skeptical eye. As he navigates this next chapter, the question isn't whether he'll keep swinging, but whether he can land the punches that matter most.